Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fed Up, your no BS nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Marie, certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist, working with clients since 2014. After swimming up diet culture's bullshit stream for so many years, I am fed the absolute up with how miserable it's making people feel when we are supposed to be getting healthier. This podcast is here to help you gain your sanity back so you can stop yo-yoing once and for all and finally learn how to trust yourself so you can enjoy food again without fear or shame while still getting to your health goals. My aim is to teach you how to detect the BS in not just the food and diet industries, but in all realms of life, because I know that, like me, we are all just a little fed up. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hello. Welcome on back to another episode. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to use this time to talk about essentially what I am doing nutritionally to start the process of losing 10 pounds, and then common mistakes that I am kind of reminded of as I am entering the process of trying to lose weight myself, and what that looks like for tracking calories and trying to be in a deficit but not be, overwhelmed and restricted, because we talk a lot about on this podcast about how we don't want to be in a restrictive state of mind because that's what fuels binging, right? So here are 3 things right now, just overall, that I am starting to do to lose 10 pounds. Number 1, I am picking back up my regular gym schedule. So I'm planning to do my own lift club in March, but right now I am just trying to make sure that I'm scheduling it into my week. I'm going, even if it's just to walk on the treadmill and get my steps in. So I'm creating the habit again because I'm just out of habit for that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is I am almost doubling my step count. I was averaging about 6,000 to 7,000 steps per day last year and recently. So I am upping it and aiming to hit about 10 to 12,000 steps. And that's not like totally unfeasible for me. But because I quit my waitressing job in August, I'm not getting those 15 to 20,000 steps in a shift days anymore, 3-4 days a week. So it helps to, have a goal for that, because also on the weekends now I am just like chilling and I really need to like get my butt in gear. And then number C, I was forgetting that I was saying 1, 2, 3, but I wrote ABC in my notes. Anyway, number 3, starting to track my calories and my protein and my fiber more carefully, not just so that I know that I'm in a deficit because I'm trying to lose weight, but also that I am held more accountable to eating at home, to being more mindful about portions, and to actually getting enough of the right nutrients. And then I know that I've been overeating and snacking due to stress, boredom, maybe even. And I know that I've been eating past the point of comfortably full. So instead of 80, 90% full, or again, comfortably full, I've been getting to the point where I'm uncomfortably full. And I know that it's probably because of my stress, right? And also because it's wintertime, even though the weather's kind of nice in Montana for February, which is really weird. I know that I'm a little bit stressed out with school and other things. So in that sense, I think that it's normal to understand why that's happening, but I just need to be more mindful about it and not, eat until I'm a point where I want to throw up. Anyway, so those are the 3 things that I'm going to start to do. And as I'm doing those things, I'm going to check in about a month. And I'm weighing myself every single day, or most days, 5-6 days a week. And the reason that I do that, I actually have a video about this, I think, on my YouTube. I don't know if I'll have to go back and make sure that I still agree with what I said, because it's a couple years old, but I think it mostly stands true. Most of the time, unless you really spiral and you just need to throw the scale away, there's 2 options here. You either throw the scale away and you blind weigh yourself at the doctor and you don't weigh yourself ever, and you lean on body neutrality, body acceptance, and we're not working on losing weight. But you're listening to this podcast, so assuming maybe at some point you want to step on the scale and lose weight or whatever it is, if you're on a mission to lose weight, I'm wanting to see the average of each week. So something that's really cool is the app that I'm using to weigh myself will give me a true weight or a scale weight versus like what I weighed that day, right? So today I was 162 pounds, but my true weight, as it said, was still 158. So the fluctuations happen all the time. And we want to get the average because weighing yourself once a week and getting 4 data points over the course of 30 days is actually not very many data points. So that being said, weigh yourself 3, 4, 5 days a week, get the average of that. And that way you know what you're doing is working. So a calorie deficit, if we calculate it and then you end up tracking and doing really well and you're like, okay, well, I'm supposedly in a deficit, but I'm not losing weight. Either we miscalculated or like you're really not in a deficit or your metabolic adaptation is actually really low, right? A lot of people who have been dieting off and on in the yo-yo cycle with their weight, they end up having what we call adaptive thermogenesis or metabolic adaptation, where as your body adapted to using less and less calories as you dieted on 1,200 calories, 900 calories, your body learns how to conserve energy, whether it's by actually learning how to do the same movements and the same things with less energy, with less calorie use, or it also does things like you reduce your steps on average 4,000 steps a day, you gesture less, you laugh less, you talk less, you talk with less inflections. Like your body finds ways to be like, well, I don't want to do that. If you're struggling with motivation, you feel really lazy and you don't have any energy, you might just be like chronically underfed. And again, I know that we want to be in a deficit, but we don't want to create that much of a deficit because then you end up with this adaptive thermogenesis and you end up hating the process and then completely slingshotting to the other side because it sucks, right? So we want to do this sustainably, whether you have a goal, whether something's coming up and you're like, I want to do this, before I go on vacation or before my wedding or before I have my baby or whatever it is, right? I want you to remember that this still matters because the more that you yo-yo cycle, the more your risk for disease and chronic disease and heart attacks and things like that go up. It's better, studies say, to like stay at your higher weight than it is to like weight cycle and lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. So if you're going to lose weight, we're going to do it right is what I'm saying. So some common mistakes to make when we are trying to lose weight and being in a deficit is one, we talk about it all over this podcast, is you go in way too hard, way too fast, all or nothing mindset, right? And maybe you know that it's calories in, calories out. So you try to track your calories, every single morsel of food go in your mouth, you work out, you do all these things, right? But if you don't really have experience doing that, you're going to get burnt out really fast. Or you don't really have experience doing it. So like, how the hell are you going to really track your calories if you like don't really know how to do that? So for me, tracking my calories is fairly simple because I've been doing it for so long. I know, like I said something the other day, not the other day, like a couple years ago. I was in a class and one of my classmates said like, well, how many calories is in such and such? And said something. And I said, oh, about 20. And they were like, how the heck would you know that? Or I said like, oh, about 85, whatever it was, right? Like I just like spit it out. And it almost makes it sound like I have an eating disorder. I do not, frankly, honestly, surprisingly, because 99% of dietetic students do, or they come from a background of having an eating disorder, working with a dietitian, and now they're going back to school to like help others, right? That type of story. So in that way, I don't want you to become obsessed with trying to track everything, especially if you've never really done that before, or this is the first time that you've really done that. So what I tell my clients is think about it like an audit. Look at it like you don't have to track every single thing every single day, but maybe one day you do just to kind of see, or do it like a backtrack or a 4-track, right? Okay, well, I'm just going to use the app that I'm using, right? I'm going to put in 2 eggs that I have in the morning. I'm going to put in this brand of bread that I usually buy. I'm going to put in a glass of milk that I have, right? Like put in what you normally would have. Most people eat similarly, even if you eat different, right? Like put in your Chipotle order, put in your Panda Express order, whatever you're getting all the time. Like put it in there because that counts, right? And then you realize, oh shoot, I've been eating 3,100 calories a day. Or, oh shoot, I've been eating 1,000 calories a day and skipping lunch. No wonder I eat 800 calories of, candy later. So you end up getting a snapshot of what's happening. What also ends up happening is, again, you audit certain meals that you have. So maybe you don't do the whole day, but you just do dinner. You just do breakfast. And then you're like, oh, my breakfast is 600 calories. My breakfast is 200 calories. You just get a good feel for it. Now, once you've done that, you can start to actually put in and pay attention more and get more refined over time. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm a professional and it's taken me 12 years to really know how to do this. And honest to God, I don't scale everything, especially not at first. Don't go balls deep first. Don't test the water with both feet first. What you're going to do is just again, do an audit of a meal, do an audit of a nutrition label. Notice, oh, I usually use this much creamer. How much is that actually? Oh, shoot, it's 3 times what the serving size says. So instead of 70 calories, it's 210 calories, right? So sometimes it can just be eye-opening, and that's what we want. Be objective. There's no shame here. There's no judgment here. It's just objective data collection. And then we can start the refinement process. So this entire week, my birthday's next week, the 11th. And before that, I kind of start prepping for the things that that feels like my new year, the January is kind of just a little bit of a foreshadow, or maybe I'll choose a different goal, but February feels like my new year month. And I've been working on just the first few days of February, just planning some things out, cleaning some space out of my mind and my schedule, planning some things, slowly easing into it so that I can hit the ground running a little bit harder the next few weeks. So something that I've been doing is, again, I've been kind of food auditing a little bit. Yesterday, I tracked my food and I didn't even track everything. And I was at 3,100 calories. I ate a lot yesterday. I'm still bloated. And I don't even know if I tracked everything. So I would say I was probably at 3,600 calories. And people are surprised. They're that's a lot. I'm yeah, but you track a day where you're not really trying to eat healthy. And also, I had a really long day yesterday and I had 2 dinners because my boyfriend gets off work late. He comes over, I cook, a dinner for us. So I had something around 4 or 5, and then I had another dinner at 11:30. So it's almost just extra, right? So again, just data collection. And then I started inputting what I'm planning to eat for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that I can put together a grocery list, I can meal prep, all that stuff. And then I can just follow it because now it's around my appropriate calorie range. And I made sure that, oh, I need to add an egg. I need to add more protein. I need to add something with fiber. So again, it just takes a little planning, but you can't go balls to the wall if you don't really know where you stand. So spend a week or two, spend some time or spend a whole month really just learning and look at it as okay, I'm not really trying to hit my calorie range. I'm just trying to understand what I'm eating. And then maybe you're trying to kind of hit your calorie range. Another common mistake that people will do is they're trying to hit lower. So if I give them 1,800 calories and then I'm well, how's your nutrition going? And they're it's great. I'm only eating 1,200 calories because you told me 1,800. So I'm doing less. I'm no, 1,800 was your calorie range. Now, again, what is the problem with going lower than that? Metabolic adaptation. You're lowering your metabolism. And 2, most people cannot sustain that low of calories. Most adults, even the tiny little women, need about 1,600 calories minimum. If you're active, you need more. If you're a boy, you need more. If you're a bigger body, you need more. You need to sustain the body that you have. So again, even if you're little, about 1,600 is really the lowest you should go. So if you're trying to eat 1,100, 1,200 calories, you might think you are, but let's add a few hundred calories to that because naturally that's going to happen. So really you're at 1,500 calories, but you feel so fucking deprived. And maybe you're eating things that are high volume, but low in satiation, meaning you ate a giant salad, but you're like kind of still hungry, or you're trying to eat everything that's like clean or kind of bland. And so you're not satiated and fulfilled and happy and satisfied. So then you end up getting the munchies. Or you end up overeating as soon as you get something in front of you, whether it's this, weekend thing or once a month or whatever it is. And it's not that once a month will really go overboard, but a lot of times once you do indulge in something, you end up like this snowball effect, right? Then you end up like going back to your favorite, slipping a little bit, indulging a little more, overeating a little more, like it starts to cycle over again. Or again, you're just restricting so much that your metabolism has slowed down so much that we need to do some repair before we diet and before we drop you even lower. Because we can't drop you even lower if you're trying to diet on like 1,300 calories. So speaking of, those are some common mistakes. When you are tracking your calories, I want you to input your snacks into the app that you're using the day before, the morning of, before, and then adjust it as you go. If you change your mind, that's okay. Like I changed my mind in lunch today and I'm just going to change it and it's no big deal. If you're like, well, I don't know if that was like a cup or this, or like, was that 8 ounces or 10 ounces? It's not a big deal. Not right now. Until you get to like, okay, I've been doing this for a while and like nothing's really changing, then we might have to get a little more nitpicky because you'd be surprised by how many people think they know what 1 tablespoon is. So yeah, if you're eyeballing everything and the needle's not moving, maybe you need to get a little more nitpicky, but don't think you have to. What I also do is like sometimes people, for myself, I know what has changed the past 6 months that has led to my 10 plus pound weight gain. I've been eating more fast food. I've been snacking a lot. I've been eating a lot more sweets. I bought like entire cookie packs from Costco and like ate them all to myself all the week long. And like, I'm sure that's easily a pound of fat because it's about 3,500 calories a surplus is a pound of fat. So it's not surprising that you can gain about 10 pounds of fat in a couple of months. No problem. And I also weigh, like quit my serving job in August. So my step count is lower. I also am like sitting in my school desk all day long. I like all of these things that kind of compound. So knowing what has led to my weight gain has really allowed me to be like, okay, so I just need to combat this, right? But a lot of people eat really healthy. They're not eating fast food, right? A lot of people are fairly active and they still don't know how they're not losing the extra 10 pounds, right? So everyone's a little different. Sometimes we have to find what budget. Some people can just like cut out one thing and then they lose a bunch of weight. Some people don't really have something to cut out because they eat pretty healthy. Maybe it's portions. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. So there's a lot of different things that it can be. But in general, I wanted to say that if you're trying to lose weight, what I'm going by how I calculate my calories and whatnot is I'm using my body weight in kilograms, which is, 72, 73 times 25 for weight loss, 30 for maintenance. And this is typically for women. And then I typically just say like 100 to 120 grams of protein is just fine. And then aim for like 30, 35 grams of fiber per day. So put it into your little app, plug some things around with foods that you like, foods that you have in your kitchen, meals that you have prepared, and then follow it, right? And then what you want to see is, okay, let me take some pictures, let me weigh myself every day, let me check in with myself in a month, whatever it may be. That way I know my plan is working. And then find a way to check things off the list or, some way to like give yourself a dopamine hit for like doing the tasks that you need to do. So for myself, I am treating myself like a client. So I put myself into my training app and I'm assigning myself workouts and I'm assigning myself my step count and my macros and my protein and checking it off, like hitting the little bubble to be like, I did that. It actually does work to like give you a reward. And when you get things that are like, I got from my Apple Health app today, it was like, your movement has changed the last few days, blah, blah, blah. And it gave me like a celebratory, like your steps have increased the last 5 days. So find ways to give yourself rewards that don't, have to do with like spending money necessarily or eating. And then also address the eating, right? I know I have been stressed the hell out and using food as something. So one thing that you can do is if you're having a lot of cravings, having a lot of stress snacking, is I'm going to practice eating slower. I'm going to practice making sure my meals are full and complete so that I'm not snacking in between. And then if I feel a little peckish, I'm going to make sure my snack is, like an apple and peanut butter or something like health forward, not just like chips out of the bag. And then maybe like sit down and enjoy it, right? Rather than like eating standing up in the kitchen while you're scrolling. So again, we want to pay attention a little bit more. And after a couple of weeks, check in, because we also don't want to be in a deficit all the time, because again, your body adapts to it. So people forget that you do want to implement what we call diet breaks, where maybe you're in a deficit for 6 to 8 weeks, you've lost a little bit of weight, and then now you go back up in calories a little bit, just a little bit. And this is why like it takes a while to get to the point where you can really track your calories accurately, so that when you change it 200, 500 calories at a time, your body knows the difference. But right now, some days you eat 1,500 calories and other days you eat 3,500 calories. Kayla, I'm speaking to myself because this is true for me as well. So when you stabilize it at 22 for weeks, you might not lose any weight. That's how you know you're at maintenance. Then you shave it down to 1,800 and boom, you lose weight. But you don't want to shave it down past 1,800 really, because you're an active lady. You need some muscle, building carbohydrates and protein and nutrients and energy. So then you bring it back up to like 2,400 for like a week or two. And then you bring it back down. So you want to offset the metabolic adaptation by bringing your calories back up every like 6 to 12 weeks. And that's how you prolong the dieting phase if you have more weight that you want to lose. So I hope this helps. This is kind of my plan for trying to lose 10 pounds. And if you are somebody who wants to join me on this journey, message me, because I will help you out and send you some of the stuff that I'm doing. And then, of course, I have my Lift Club that I'm planning to start myself in a couple of weeks. And if you wanted to book, a nutrition call, just like a one-off or anything like that, or if you're in Bozeman, I do offer personal training in Four Corners. So I am here for you. And I was kind of joking with my mom that this will be my like test that I can coach myself for one, but also that like my methods work, because if I can't lose 10 pounds, whether it's like through my own coaching methods, or I'll go find a coach that can help me lose 10 pounds. Cause I'm not saying everyone isn't always the best coach for themselves, because external accountability is huge for about 80% of us. There's only a few people that can really internally motivate and be like a full self-starter. Most of us need like a little bit of external motivation, someone watching, someone like shaming us, right? Like not really, but like the risk of shame. So we like do things because someone's waiting for us, or we paid for it, or someone asked us if we did it, whatever it may be, right? Like set yourself up for success. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and I hope you will join me along for the ride. So thanks for coming with me today, and I look forward to talking at you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for being here, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please screenshot and tag me over on Instagram, or leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening from. Your support means the world to me and only helps me get the No BS news out to more people. If you're interested in working with me in nutrition or personal training, check out my programs and courses on my website at kaylamariefitness.com and on Instagram at kaylamari_fit. See you next week.